G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Den here. I'm talking to you live from our little motorhome somewhere down the south coast of New South Wales. Today I wanted to talk to you about the top 10 must-have accessories for motorhomes, camper vans and caravans that you need before you head off on your first adventure. Now, buying a little motorhome or camper van or caravan, they come outfitted with all the lovely furnitures, lounges, beds, stoves, fridges and everything. There's still a lot of accessories that you may need to purchase before you head off on that first trip. And I'm going to talk about the top 10 accessories that you need. These aren't in any particular order, I think you need them all, and I'd like to go through them with you, so stay tuned. Okay, coming in at number one, I've decided one of the first things that we needed to buy, and I think most people do, is a barbecue. Now, we've tried a few different barbecues. We started off with our little Weber Q, which I absolutely loved in our caravans, but I found in our little motorhome, the little Weber Q was just a little bit too big and bulky. Well, I cooked a great feed, a great steak, bacon and eggs on toast. It was just that little bit heavy, awkward and tricky to get around. So we tried a few other options. I had a single butane burner, which was good, but it just didn't tick all the boxes. And we eventually found ourselves buying a double butane burner. And the particular little one we've got has a casserole dish on one side and a nice little flat plate on the other side. The flat plate can also come off and I can put a saucepan, because we often cook bacon and eggs, and even in the casserole dish we've cooked a couple of nice curries which come up really well. And I found those little canisters, the little tin canisters, usually last about 4 cook-offs. So we've usually got about half a dozen tins of that in the motorhome, and if we're planning to do a bigger trip I'll even buy another 4-pack. But I have found that most camping places and most supermarkets, even Bunnings, sell these little butane canisters in a little 4-pack, so I'm never without those. Yeah, so there's a lot of different barbecues out there. We were happy with our final purchase because this little double butane burner, it's easy to clean, easy to pull apart, easy to replace the gas. It's very portable, it's very light, and it fits snugly up in our Luton, in our little motorhome. So we're very happy with that, and I'll probably stick with that one as it's nice and easy to get around. It's also very portable. As much as I love the Weber, you also needed to attach it to a 9-kilo gas bottle or even a 4-kilo gas bottle, which made it less portable. If you wanted to take it down the beach or out on a picnic, it makes it pretty tricky. But this particular little one we've got fits in a little briefcase and we can take it anywhere we like. Alright, so that's that. Coming at number 2. Now, I've chosen chairs as number 2, and unfortunately for me, I was trying to find one chair that ticks all the boxes, but it didn't. So we've actually got 2 sets of chairs. We've got our camping recliner chairs that we put outside under our awning. And they're very comfortable. You can sit up, have dinner in them, and in the afternoon when you want your power nap, you just tilt them back and you can almost make them into a lie down bed for our afternoon snoozes, which I do quite often. But I did try them out on the beach, but they weren't very good. Bit heavy, bit cumbersome to take to and from the beach every time. So we end up with these little Tommy Bahama chairs as our beach chairs. So yes, we've got 2 sets of chairs, the camping recliners and the Tommy Bahamas that we take when we go visiting people, when we want to go down the beach and have a cheese platter or a coffee. And even if we just want to spend the day down the beach, put our chairs under the gazebo and watch the world go by. What I love about these little Tommy Bahama chairs is when they're folded up, they're actually a little backpack. And behind the chairs, there's 2 little pockets where you can put your sunscreen, your towel, if you want your mask and snorkel, your hat, your phone, and any other bits and pieces that you'd like to take down to the beach. They fold up, they're very, very comfortable. They actually recline back. They recline, I think, all the way back to 180 degrees. So you can almost make them into a nice little snoozy bed. Another very important thing that I loved about them is the fact that they're high, so I can lean back and rest my head back on the backrest and have a nice little snooze. The chairs I had before that, even though they were very portable, very compact, they didn't have the comfort of the Tommy Bahamas, and they also didn't have the pockets where you could take your bits and pieces. And it's very easy to have these chairs on as a backpack and carry a few other accessories like your gazebo. This leads me into number 3. Now, coming at number 3 as our Cool Cabana gazebo. And what I like about this little gazebo is it's light, it's portable, it's easy to carry down the beach. I just throw it over the shoulder. When we do get down to the beach, it's very easy to set up, and the legs have little pouches in the bottom where you fill them up with sand. So even in a strong wind, these little gazebos seem to withstand the wind. I haven't actually got the dimensions of the gazebos, the Cool Cabana gazebos on me, but I know for a fact that they cover myself and Deb when we're down the beach in the sun. We do have to rotate around with the sun, but there's always plenty of shade to provide 2 to 4 people. Coming in at number 4 is a nice floor mat. When we pull up at most caravan parks, they've usually got concrete slabs. Some have got that artificial grass, but especially when you go off the grid and you're camping alongside rivers and beaches and other areas, there's often no grass or it's a bit dirty, so we roll out. We've got a nice little green mat that's breathable. Even if it rains for the night and it gets wet, the water soaks through. It doesn't kill off the grass. I'm not going to tell you which is the best mat. We've got a nice little green one, little green sort of rubber mat with vent holes in it, and it just keeps us off the dirt, away from the dust, and nice and comfy. Now coming in at number 5, and we didn't have these initially, and I remember the first time we went away in our little van, we went to Byron Bay, and we were tickled pink that we got a waterfront site, but that's also a wind front site. And the first thing I noticed is our little Carefree electric awning was a little bit flimsy. I'm not overly impressed with it. It's nice and light, but anything higher than about 10 knots of wind, it was really flapping around. So we decided to get ourselves some anti-flap bars. We got some Aussie Traveller anti-flap bars, and they made a massive difference. They really made the awning a lot stronger, a lot firmer, and those alongside with the privacy screens enabled us to leave the awning up even in the strongest of winds. I've been away at Byron Bay and up and down the coast in fairly heavy winds, and I haven't been concerned about the awning getting blown away. So the anti-flap bars with a centre rafter are a definite must. They're easy to install. They take about 5 minutes to set up, and they make a massive difference in the awning strength. Okay, coming in at number 6. Whenever we go away, and I know a lot of people are in the same boat, we love taking our bikes. So naturally we wanted to get a nice bike rack. Because we've got e-bikes though, we needed a bike rack that was very strong. Our e-bikes are 25 kilos each, and we bought this Thule bike rack which has a total weight capacity of 60 kilos. And what I like about this bike rack, you actually roll the bikes onto tracks rather than try and lift them up and hang them onto a clamp. They've got nice little ratchet straps to secure the wheels. They've also got nice little arms with clamps on them that can tighten down onto the bike with a locking mechanism, so your bikes are actually locked up. Even when the bikes are on, there's stop lights and blinkers, and the rego plate that's purely visible. It's not obstructed by the bikes. It's 100% legal. It's easy to install. It just clamps onto your tow ball. It has a 60 kilogram limit. The bikes are 25 kilos each, so they're 50 kilos. I also wrap another high tensile steel chain around the bikes and the rack, and then I put a bike cover over the top of that. So that was a nice little addition. It's lovely to take our e-bikes. We do a lot of walking and a lot of riding, and it makes our holiday just that much better. Coming in at number 7, and I know that this probably isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I absolutely love it. I always take my little drone with us, and as well as taking beautiful videos and getting nice footage of the beaches and headlands and camping spots that we go to, another thing that I think is very good about having a drone is you actually get to explore the area while you're sitting down in the recliner chair of your van. I remember one time my son and I went up to Crescent Head, and I'd never been to Crescent Head before. It was always on my list, and I said to Matt, okay, we'll go for dinner somewhere. We're in the caravan park. I'll see if I can find any RSL clubs or ex-servos clubs or bowling clubs. And instead of wandering the streets, I just flew my little drone up. They can go 120 metres into the air, and I went around along the coast looking for where everything was. It was interesting because I could see where the nearest club was. I could see where the shops were. I could spot some little cafes, and I also wanted to see if we could walk around the beach to the next beach, or what was around the other side of the river. And I remember saying to Matt, oh no, I've just flown the drone up and it gets very rocky around the corner here, and it doesn't look like you've got access to walk around to the next beach. So they're good for exploring without having to use your legs. So it makes you a bit lazy. And as I said, I love making YouTube videos, and there's nothing better than adding a few beautiful little drone shots into the video. So they're a very handy little item to have. And I know that people that have done a lot of outback adventures in their motorhomes and four-wheel drives, they often send their drone up to see what the road's like ahead, if it's too muddy or sloshy, if there's any trees knocked down. So it's good for that. You can see what's around, what's ahead, and what's accessible. So I highly recommend getting a little drone, and they're not hard to use. I think a lot of people are put off, you know, how complex they are, but they're actually quite easy to fly. I know my little drone is a DJI Mini 3 Pro, and I know that once it's flying, if I take my hands off all the controls, it will just hover. So it's a good little drone, and they've actually got my little one, and I think any later ones have object obstruction sensors. Coming in at number 8 is this little guy, and you've probably seen him turn up if you've been watching my videos, and I hope you have. Is this little guy. This is my little Bellman coffee machine, and I got this originally. Actually, this is my second coffee machine. My first little coffee machine was a little DeLonghi machine, which I loved, but I think it actually died from underuse. So I got this little guy, and there's actually no moving parts or no little electronics in this, so I don't think this can ever die. This is actually run on steam power. She's a good little machine, and I got this because I wanted to be able to go away off the grid and still make a really nice little coffee. So this one, I just fill it up with water. I put it on the hot plate. I can put it on the hot plate in the van or out on my little cooker, and this boils the water. The pressure of the steam makes the coffee come out at this end at a nice rate, and it also steams my milk, and it makes coffee just like a regular coffee machine would, without having to worry about power. Okay, coming in at number 9 is this little guy. This is my little Ryobi 18 volt fan. I've got Ryobi tools on board. I've got my drill and driver and my little tire inflator. Now, I was originally going to buy a Sirocco fan and get it fitted, and I bought this little Ryobi fan as a in the meantime sort of fan, but after using it for a few weekends, I noticed it swivels around both up and down and sideways. It also has a nice little clamp that I can clamp it onto tables and chairs and any little brackets on the roof. But the biggest advantage of this over the Sirocco fan I found was that I can put it outside. Even when I'm sitting outside under the awning, I can still have this little fan going. It's got 2 speeds, high and low. And it's a little ripper. I also noticed, this is a 4 amp battery, that when I'm using it, after 12 hours on low, I only lose 1 little light power. So 4 times 12 is 48, and I usually just run this at night most times when it's stinking hot and I'm off the grid naturally. When I'm on the grid, I've got the air conditioning in the van, and yeah, I've been away for a weekend, had this on most of the time, and it does the job. As I said, I was going to replace this with a Sirocco fan, but the amount of power that I get, this little guy does the job. Alrighty, now coming in at number 10 is the power adapter. Okay, so I've just bought this little guy. This is my Bluetti power station. That's a game changer. When we're off the grid now, this enables me to have 240 volt power in the middle of nowhere. I even did a test on this the other week, and it ran my air conditioner for about 3.5 hours. And now that I've got these Ryobi tools, I can recharge these batteries using this Bluetti machine and have them running all the time. So I've completely gone off the idea of getting a Sirocco fan. This little guy enables me to have 240 volts. So I can actually now use my kettle, my toaster, my sandwich press, my induction cooker, and all other 240 volt appliances like my air fryer and my slow cooker. My little Bluetti also came with a DC to DC charger. So as I'm driving, my little power station is charging up. So usually when I pull up to the next location, she's back on 100% again, which is really cool. Now, as well as that, I realised the plugs here are only a 10 amp plug. So I've bought this little gadget here. There's my 10 amp plug, and when I plug this into the Bluetti, there's a 10 amp plug at this end, and in here there's a 15 amp plug, and that's where I plug my caravan cord into. And this isn't just for the Bluetti. Sometimes if you park your van at home, or if you're going away visiting friends, a lot of people don't have 15 amp power points, so you get this little guy. He adapts a 10 amp plug into a 15 amp plug, so you can always use household power for your van. Okay, so I was trying to stick to 10, but unfortunately there's number 11. When I opened the van cupboard before, I saw this little guy and I thought is worth mentioning. So this is my little tire inflator, little Ryobi, the same battery as I use for the fan, little 4 amp battery. And the beauty of this little guy is it's so easy. She's portable. I can walk around the van, check every single tire, and it has a maximum PSI rating of 150 PSI. My little tyres are about, I think from memory, 65 to 68 pounds, so this easily tops up my tyres. And yeah, if I ever do get a flat, I can always use this little guy to pump them back up again, and it doesn't take long at all. Usually I check my tyres before every trip, and sometimes they're, you know, 5 PSI down, and within a minute or so they're back up to their 65 or 68, I can't remember exactly, but this little guy does the job quite easily. From memory, he was about $80 at Bunnings, so that was a nice little bargain thing to have. So much easier than the other little compressor things that I had before. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up. If anyone's interested in any of this equipment that I've shown you, I've actually done extensive videos on a lot of these bits and pieces beforehand, so I'll put links in the description below and have an extensive look at those things. Alright, so if anyone has any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing with others. Yes, as I said, any questions, leave in the comment section and I'll get back to you when I can. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy my little videos. I try and help people and answer any comments or any questions that come through as soon as I can. Alright, stay safe everyone, and I'll see you out on the road. Bye bye.